Okay. Good morning. We're good to go. We're broadcasting, as you may have noticed, through the announcement that was emailed to everyone that's on the SIG list. I'm Fred Kautz. I'm a Berkeley Research Group. I also want to acknowledge all the work that's making this in the playback capability possible. I need to take notes for this because everything you see here will be posted to the site down the Society's web portal. And so we want to just briefly step through the things that you see in the bullet list on the right-hand side. We're not going to belabor these too much because all this you can read faster than we can talk to it. But we do want to encourage people to please step in and ask questions or make comments along the way. This is not a one-way pitch by us. We're looking for contributions, ideas, and suggestions. Okay. I don't have to review the purpose and our mission in the business SIG. That's pretty obvious to anybody who's already in the SIG. I will make one comment about the fourth bullet here, which is related to assisting in job identification, job leads, etc. That's been a sort of a persistent goal among all the things that we've set out as our mission, and that's an area I'd like to encourage further inputs and suggestions on. It's going to surface in the context of the thing we call SDX, which is the System Dynamics Exchange, which is an initiative of the business SIG. But facilitating job leads, identifications, et cetera, is something that we have a pretty intense desire to pursue as part of our charter. Okay, let me make a few comments here about SDX. We're going to actually tag team the presentation a little bit. Seth and Matt will also contribute to some of the discussion. But SDX, for those of you who have not seen this mentioned previously, is really somewhat of a derivative from the MATLAB file exchange experience. If you're a MATLAB user and you've been on their site for the file exchange, you can see how they've actually set up an environment to post models, download models, exchange code snippets, etc. We have that sort of goal, but with some other things added to it. So the vision we have of SDX is more of a collaboration portal, not just a file exchange for model building. So it's supporting the XML initiative, of course, is part of this in the context of the model exchange and model development. But there's also been suggestions from a number of people to support rooms or portals that are specific to certain platform users. I think, VinSim, PowerSim, etc. This is actually a notion that goes way back in lots of other platforms in terms of web-enabled user communities, and that sort of portal entry point is something that several people have asked about. Training programs and links to that is another functionality we were intending to include as part of this platform. We have a set of preliminary requirements we're developing. We're still taking inputs on that, so this is one area in particular I would really encourage submissions of ideas and suggestions so we can actually flesh out the requirements document fairly soon and actually get on to talking about platforms and people who can host this.
Matthew, can you hear us?
Yes.
Can you go ahead and talk to case studies, please?
Sure thing. I do apologize for the delay, everyone. Case studies primarily will be hosted at cases.systemdynamics.org, where we will be refining the current website to better source practitioners through additional editing and refinement of the searching capabilities of the website. Our goal really here is to demonstrate the breadth and depth of SD use, and we're going to be doing this by helping practitioners and problem owners connect around common issues and opportunities that SD has been solved. Right now, the project has been primarily led by Kim Warren, and we're always looking for help to help expand the editing process of the project and to ensure that new case studies can be put up in a timely manner and ensure we kind of have coverage for a wide range of events. This is a less formal venue than the conference, and so we're going to have lower barriers to contribution and consumption. And really our goal here is to create tools that you as fellow SD peers and users can be using and sharing with each other to see how other teams or individuals have approached particular problems within set areas, and hopefully provide inspiration on areas that SD has been used outside academia to create contributions to the business world and beyond. It's also going to be an excellent tool to help maintain interest for beginners and part-time users who want to have another perspective to SD and some of its work. Next slide, please. So right now, primarily, as I said before, we're working on updating the current database. That means that we are reforming some of the older content, bringing it up to modern standards and up to speed. And we're also working on cross-promotional efforts to ensure that we're more featured prominently on the SDS website and going to be part of SDX also. Long-term goals include being able to search by region and being able to moderate the comments so that we can have extended discussions on the case studies and provide feedback to the original authors. Right now, we're really looking for additional volunteers to help with this project so that we can get it running full speed. We have an infrastructure in base that we're looking to develop. We just don't have the manpower to do it. Moving on, one of our current major projects is the idea of success stories. These success stories are short, almost marketing articles, focusing on numerical successes produced by SD work. And what we're really trying to demonstrate is that how SD is being used to address problems and opportunities for business owners, and focusing more heavily on the non-academic standards. We're really trying to focus on numerical firm results that we can share so that when someone asks, what could SD do for me, we have quotes ready. We have short pieces ready so that everyone can have an elevator pitch for the topic they're trying to talk to a client about. Next slide, please. Sorry, I heard some questions in the background. As of now, with our new website, we have about 6 articles ready to post. This is just a sample of some of the work that we're doing right now and with some of the organizations that we'll be putting up material from. And not including just these 6 articles, we have, next slide please, a number of articles already in the pipeline that we're hoping to expand and include in the website in the future. So right now we have an initial pipeline, but what we need really is help. If we go on to the next slide, we can see that helping us produce these success stories really benefits everyone's involved. At the most basic level, we're giving a chance for writers and editors to network with practitioners. And especially if those editors are new students trying to break into the business field of SD, they're having a chance to network. They're having a chance to actively learn how to write and display SD work, and really helping them gain material that they can share with friends, family, and colleagues, because we're trying to make sure that these success stories are very readable. We do not want to be weighed down by jargon, but instead we want a tool set that you can show to someone outside the SD field to pique their curiosity, to get them interested in the work. For practitioners who are willing to share their work, we're producing new leads for them. We're helping them market themselves. For champions in the SE world, we're giving them that marketing material once again. So at every step in the process, we're providing benefits from the people who are actually willing to sit down and share their cases to those writing and editing the cases. The goal here is to create closer community ties and create more product out there. Product that we can use as a whole group to share with the market. Next page, please. So right now, the business SIG itself is working to provide writers, editors, graphic artists, and a centralized repository of articles. In the future, we also want to even add translators so that regional chapters can have access to the same material in their native languages, ensuring that we can really make sure that this is distributed at a high level. In return for this, what we really need right now are practitioners, those who can talk to us about their cases, talk to us about their clients, and most importantly, talk to us about their finished product. This is really going to be a numbers game. We want to have solid cases that we can really talk about and sell to future clients by having tangible results, hard numbers. And we really want to show who's out there using System Dynamics. As you saw in the previous slides, with a number of our logos, there's a lot of people out there using System Dynamics and benefiting it, and they're not so well advertised. We really want to point out that there are major corporations who are taking the opportunity to engage in System Dynamics and produce tangible results. Next slide, please. So as we said, we have a number in production and a number ready and a number under consideration. We're going to be having our own higher-level website domain off of the systemdynamics.org where people can type in a short URL and immediately get access to all this information at their fingertips. And most importantly, we're working on cross-posting. This means that this work is going to be distributed across the web, leading back to the System Dynamics Society, back to the Business SIG, and back to the individual practitioners willing to share their work with us. Next slide, please. So as I said before, we're really looking for leads, either your own work or projects you're aware of. We're looking for introductions, a chance to sit down with practitioners who have clients that are willing to share their work and talk about what they did. We're also looking for writers, especially among the younger students and younger members of the business crowd who want that opportunity to network, to learn how to sell their own work and others' work, and to practice their writing. And as time goes on, we'll need more editors to check the quality of the work and translators to increase the scale of our work. And we're really looking to build a global representation. Right now, we're definitely biased a bit towards the North America, European cases, but we really want to make this a global initiative to show how SD has been used around the world. Next slide, please. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Fred. Fred, I can't hear you. I'm sorry, at this time we're not getting any audio feed from the conference.
technical pause here. So.
All right, can you hear us now? Yes.
By the way, this is Rafat Zaini from WPI, in case anyone knows who that is. He's actually the co-lead of the business thing. And also proof that you've actually joined this meeting from overseas. So. By the way, one quick comment to Aaron's suggestion. There was internal discussion about the notion of a case competition, which I think is an intriguing one because it's it fits with the kinds of things that have been done in other societies, other methodologies in use. I'd like to actually see that one pursued a bit further because I think it would be intriguing just to see teams, especially from all the university programs and even corporates, collaborate or compete in a sense on a set of problems that have been posed by the society as you know, current problems, not just academic problems. So that's a CD, which is actually on our future follow-up list. So thank you for raising that. Let me briefly comment on another initiative we had started some time ago on conference participation. This really grew out of our sort of collective notion that the SIGs and the chapters ought to be driving the outreach of society into other professional societies, other methodology venues where there's an obvious overlap or mutual interest. You know, one obvious example I picked from a previous discussion around this was WinterSim, which is an annual meeting. I think it was originally focused mostly on discrete event simulation. There are at least 6 professional societies that are part of the consortium that drives WinterSim. You do see SD papers appear in this conference, and some of you in the audience may actually have participated in this conference. And but currently, as far as I know, the society is not a member of that consortium for WinterSim, which is sort of, to me, an obvious sort of piece. So, but it's not the only example of conferences where SD or multi-method simulation or things that we touch routinely would be of real interest to other society conferences. This is the sort of thing that folks in the engineering societies do routinely in terms of setting up joint conferences or doing liaison between societies. So this is something that's still in the works. We don't have a formal game plan, but it has been surfaced with Policy Council. So even last year, there was some discussion with Jürgen Strohecker and Etienne Rouet around this topic. So we have not sort of crafted the next step, which is to do the outreach to the WinterSim consortium and some of the other obvious targets that the society could line up with. And the business SIG wouldn't even be the only SIG or the only chapter, of course. That would be part of the contingent, so to speak, that's approaching the other societies and other conference organizers. So this is something we would actively seek you know, additional ideas and contributions on. So we would encourage you to submit ideas to the business SIG email address, which is on the webpage. It's also at the end of this set of slides, which will be posted to our website shortly. Again, I basically said all this. We need volunteers and ideas around particular conferences or professional societies that would be natural alliances for the SD Society. And forums is another obvious one. I've already mentioned WinterSim. ACM, I believe, is one of the member societies of the consortium that drives WinterSim. IEEE also is part of that. So again, there's lots of things in the social arena, in the economics arena that would be obvious intersections for us. So we're looking for ideas and suggestions on people we could tap and doorways we could cross. Okay, one other item. This one also has been surfaced with the Policy Council, and it's still a item to be pursued further. It's not finalized, as far as I know, and that's the notion of a corporate member category for the society. This is a category that's very common in many other societies, especially in engineering. You have a distinct corporate membership category, which in many cases allows members of the society to join at a discounted rate if they're affiliated through that corporate relationship. It's not the only role for a corporate member, but it's one of the benefits to individual members. This is something I've seen used heavily in the engineering societies that I've been part of. I think it would also further incentivize us to help to identify the champions in individual companies who could help facilitate dialogue with the SIGs and the chapters, which I think are still the ground forces of the society in terms of reaching into the corporates and into other societies. As I mentioned, both Jürgen and Etienne have actually contributed some text around a plan of action for this. I think at before the next meeting, the next annual meeting, we'll report through the web on our website what the status of this is, because this may be coming up fairly soon for another iteration. So I'd encourage ideas on this initiative in terms of who the principal contacts might be as corporate champions. We know some of them already through the standard membership active in society conferences. But there are also a number of corporates that we're aware of who have a number of members in the society, but you don't really see them on the radar screen as a corporate player, since that you do in the engineering societies. So again, it's an ongoing initiative. Okay, this is just something I just mentioned, which is that there's a draft proposal that's being reviewed and edited right now. Okay, I think this is the last item on our agenda.
Sure, I can speak to this briefly.
I'm aware. Yes, that would be an obvious.
So can you all hear me?
Okay.
The strategic planning model is essentially a leveraged, soon to be fully realized model focused on the system dynamics field itself and our current relationships between academia and business and how we've been growing and shrinking. Right now, we're capitalizing upon statistics and databases that we're putting together as the business SIG.
At the top, in terms of people who are direct contributors to the corporate member category. So, any other questions or comments around corporate membership? Yes. Yeah. The question is whether benefits now include, right, to corporate members. Actually, I assembled a package of materials that was forwarded to Jürgen and Etienne some time ago, which was really selections from other societies who have used corporate member category and what they basically advertise on their own sites as the benefits of being a corporate member. So there's sort of a spectrum there, but yes, there's something beyond just providing discounts to employees who actually want to join the society. In terms of active contributions to this strategy of the society, this is something you see very routinely in engineering societies. The technical committees that are sort of the heart of many engineering societies are driven pretty heavily by the corporate members because they're so tied into the society that they compete to get people on the technical committees and help drive not just the policy of the society, but actually design conferences and organize sessions. you know, if you have a seat at that table, then you have some say in what happens. So there's a range of things. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned this. This is the topic that we actually could post a page on that gives a sample of what other societies do in a corporate member framework. That's just something we can actually provide as public information. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. All right. I believe this is the last item on the agenda before we talk about elections to close this out. The strategic planning model is something really that was Kim's lead item. So, and Rafat Zaini was involved in this. There was some model building going on basically to help support the strategic planning model for the society that Kim has been leading. So Kim, do you want to make a few comments about this?
So people have been building models for the field for as long as the field has existed, right? And there's lots of different ones around. Most of them tend to be kind of illustrative, partial. They only deal with part of what's going on. So what we've tried to do, it actually was the skeleton of the society strategy work 2 years ago. And I've tried to turn it into a slightly more robust, potentially working model structure. The problem is, of course, that we've got no data. The only data we have, absolutely the only data we have, is concerns the society itself, as far as I can figure out. So there is some effort going on. Peter Hoffman is undertaking a survey, which I believe is attempting to go out beyond membership. Berkut Tan has been doing an analysis of the publications of SD outside of System Dynamics Review to find out what's been going on there. Well, there's tons and tons of data missing. One key thing about it is that there is a pipeline of professionals, of practitioners in the model. And you heard Jürgen talking about the certification plans. Well, that pipeline structure is conformant with the structure that has come out of work by Martin Schaffenicht and Stefan Grosser, who have done a taxonomy of what it is we expect SD practitioners to know at different levels. So there's beginner, advanced beginner, competent professional, experienced professional, and kind of super expert god or whatever. So they've got a complete taxonomy of which has been drawn from surveys of knowledgeable people in the field. They've been spending 2 years on this. We have a very good, I think, a pretty robust structure in place for what that pipeline looks like and should look like. It's obviously a key part of the strategy structure of the model. And the model is available for anyone to go and have a look at, but not edit, because I don't want people making changes. you can take, maybe you can take a copy, but I don't want people kind of changing the master one without talking to me about it. I'll send the link out for that. Yeah, it's on our platform.
Right. Thanks, Kim. So don't break the model, right? I spoke a little too soon in terms of the last item on the agenda. This is actually a slide we had in the case competition. So we had thought about this and doing this a bit. So there are ideas being kicked around about what the reward is, other than just bragging rights. But I think it would be useful to start reaching out to the university programs, perhaps drive to the student teams and student chapter, which is, by the way, another liaison initiative in terms of linking up with the business SIG but other SIGs, and that's what's become of the student chapter. There is a chapter. It's not like there's a chapter at every university that's got a program, which is more typical of the engineering societies that I'm familiar with. But there hasn't been that much linkage previously with the student chapter. So I think this is another obvious sort of intersection point that we'd like to pursue. Matt, if you're still there in Washington, D.C., do you want to comment on the mentorship thing?
Sure thing. So right now, once again, talking about linkages, our efforts are to help ST students transition into the workforce. And one of the things we're trying to do is create closer connections to chapters and other SIGs to find what opportunities they have and almost act as, and I hope I'm not producing too much feedback right now, act as a liaison and help connect students, divide by interest and region, to matching programs so that we can fit students into opportunities to provide them with experience before entering the workforce. I'm told this is actually similar to some of the initiatives that the conference and the society as a whole have recently launched, so we might be working closer with them in the future. But really what we're doing is we're going to be coordinating heavily with the student chapter, much like we will be doing with the case competition, and helping, in a way, broker these connections, internships, and mentorship opportunities. In return, we're hoping to see additional case studies or success stories come out of this process. And this, much like many other programs, is very scalable. We'll start small, but if we have more volunteers around to help us out, we can increase the number of students we can serve, and we can increase the number of work generated. And with that, I think that ends our presentation slides, and I'm going to turn it back over to Fred.
Thanks, Matt. Yes, please.
This is much more, this is for everybody.
Okay.
And very important.
Right.
We just need to make sure that it connects with that.
Right. Yeah, and we need some further exposure through the web page and the portal. So, yes, thank you for that. I had not recalled Ken's initiative on that. Okay.
Fred, could you repeat that for those of us listening at home? We couldn't hear that comment.
Actually, there's a typo here. Jürgen is the president-elect. That's at the end now, right? So, so we'll be coordinating with Jürgen and Etienne concerning the next year's conference. And when it comes to sessions, this is something that SIGs and chapters actually ought to be more actively involved in terms of suggesting topics for sessions and helping even organize sessions. And an engineering society, that committees would be responsible for all this and also be responsible for reviewing papers for them. As well as, by the way, hosting sessions and other people's conferences. So this is something that I think where the SIGs and chapters could play a more active role, and we'd like to see that happen. We'll try to do our part in that respect. Okay, last item, the last item. We are obligated to elect 2 co-leaders every year to lead the SIG. That doesn't mean there's not other positions to fill in terms of leading initiatives, et cetera, et cetera. Because the SIGs are actually very flexible entities in terms of designing their own sort of leadership structure, in the sense of appointing leads for various things. But there are 2 co-leads that need to be nominated and elected. And so currently, I'm one of those 2. Rafat Zaini, who you just saw on the web link, is the other one. And we're looking for and willing to nominate some people to take our place for the coming year. So I'd like to open the floor to anyone who would like to make nominations, because I have one in particular I'd like to put on the floor, but we'll take any nominations from the floor that people want to offer, including themselves. All right. One I'm going to put in play is Seth Cordes as one of the co-leaders for the year.
I second that nomination.
Thank you. Yeah, Seth is, along with Matt, has been really the workhorses of putting a lot of things together for the SIG in the past year. And so I think it'd certainly be in good hands. And Seth is so wired, literally, in technology in other ways that he's very good at communicating to the rest of the SIG, and in terms of other initiatives we talked about, I think would be a great communicator. So other candidates, because Rafat is not willing to go another round, that we've decided to step aside for other people. So, yes. Are you asking about what the responsibilities of the leaders of the SIG are? Okay, that's actually a good question. I haven't seen the print version of this. Kim actually may know this better than I do, but it's more explicit for chapters than it is for SIGs. You know, a SIG co-leader basically is supposed to drive and organize initiatives that the SIG sponsors. That's one role. We do not collect dues because SIGs are not allowed to collect dues. That's not part of our charter. Hence, we cannot actually put money against initiatives or against participation that requires a fee. So we have to do basically everything we do on a volunteer basis. So what you've seen so far in terms of initiatives and activities with other SIGs and chapters, these are just all initiatives that have been promoted up through the SIG and managed in a sense by the people who are the leaders of the SIG. We don't have any other formal role with the society other than managing basically our own initiatives. We don't sit on the policy council for the society, for example. We don't have voting rights in that sort of sense. So we are purely, voluntary and advisory in that sense, right? Now, if you have something else to add to that, Kim, I'd welcome any comments.
I think you got it right. The distinction is SIGs are extremely informal. They can be literally no more than a bunch of folk who happen to have some common interest that they get together on a phone call once a quarter or something.
Exactly.
As little as that.
Right.
So there are no obligations on SIGs as to what exactly they do, how they organise themselves. So it's essentially entirely up to us.
Right.
Fred, may I add to that? It is also important to note that with the business SIG especially, we have been working with large to small teams of people in the background besides the co-leads who have been running a number of the projects. Myself and Seth, for example, have been working in the background, and though we're not on the paperwork anywhere, this is not going to be a two-man effort by any stretch of the imagination.
Every SIG you join, there's a fee attached to it. So there are no fees to join. There's no membership required to join. So about a third of our SIG members, which is around 300 plus now, are not members of the society. And that's a pretty steady percentage from year to year. Now, by the way, this SIG has only been really in existence or resurrected from 2 years ago. This is the third annual meeting since it was revived. It existed many years ago and then sort of went dormant. And so from the time it sort of reopened in the 2013 conference, it's been pretty actively responded to by people both in and out of the society. Okay, I'll make, if no one else has, yes, please.
I am the first London Creative Conference. I am the first strong with the society. But in fact, I approached with the Senator I'm from Vietnam.
Okay.
So far now is only one Vietnamese member. Society is one, but in fact, if I'm not wrong, from alumni from Nanyang and other universities, the number of Vietnamese alumni that is about 50 of them. And 50 of them already exposed to system mechanics as well. 14 of them, when they're back, they
Okay.
I do have this one. After the physical program back to Vietnam, I can try to how to organize
Mm-hmm.
and to apply some. In fact, I applied a portion of service when I teaching the economics in the engineering school,
Mm-hmm. Good.
and also teaching try to use some of economic models when I teaching for the financing corporation and project management as well.
Oh, good. Very good.
My students from undergrad as well as with a master degree, and in this case, look into the case study. It just says one-on-one that they I have a pool of students that think they can have ability to do with the certain.
Good.
Fortunately, yesterday I met with him and I looked to the platform so
Mm-hmm.
where I can multiply them and help my students get into their
Right.
studying core with the thesis. And they also have the time to do a core with the company, then in that case they can promote into the company uses. Same with what you are saying there.
Okay.
But again, I'm the first attender.
Okay.
So I don't know whether I should be professional enough.
Well, there's plenty of people to do.
You want
They
to-
don't have to take a leadership position. If they want to
Right.
take a lead on doing something, then
Right.
that's cool. The other thing for you to consider is that there's been an idea to form a chapter, the ASEAN countries. Is Vietnam an ASEAN country? Yes. Okay. So there is you should get together with representatives from the other ASEAN nations and see if you can set up that chapter. The society really wants that to happen, if you can.
Yes, that's a great point. Well, yeah, Kim made the point that this would be a attractive opportunity to join with the ASEAN chapter formation for Southeast Asia, and be thanks, John, and be part of that chapter activity. That would be a natural fit for participating. It doesn't mean you can't join the SIGs. You can sign up to as many of those as you want. There's no charge, and but in terms of initiatives, yeah, we're within a SIG. At least we are. We're happy to let people take initiatives and run with them if they have some ideas. But they also may be things of use to the other chapters or other SIGs, and for that we would actually surface those initiatives to the society and to the other chapters. So chapters in this society tend to be regional, except for one chapter, which is economics, which is not a geographical chapter. But it's very typical that people affiliate with a geographical chapter and with the sort of functional area SIGs, whether it's business, IT, whatever, and drive initiatives that way. So I'd encourage you to follow up with us, but also approach. Is Etienne driving some of the chapter formation activities or not?
It's currently Martin Sheffield.
Martin Sheffernick, right. Okay, so if you want to contact us afterwards, then we'll put you in contact with the right people. Appreciate that. Quickly, because we are running out of time here. Yeah, we're almost on the 9 o'clock hour. One other name I'll put in play for co-leader is Munaf Amir from Sandia Laboratories. I have spoken with him about this, so I'm not trying to draft him unbeknownst to him. So he has expressed an interest in helping with the business SIG. Okay. Okay, we'll just take a or nay vote on the people who've been put in play here. There's Seth Cordes for a co-lead, as well as Munaf Amir from Sandia Laboratories. Ayes? Nays?
Hey.
Okay, very good. All right, I think we are closed, and I thank you for attending at such an early hour. Thank you.
I thank everyone for their time and remind them if they're interested in volunteer positions at the Business SIG. As you see, we have a lot of initiatives that can use some help. If we look at the next slide,
Oh, so that one? Yes.
we do need your help. We have a website URL you can sign up on, and that will let you choose from all of our current initiatives and some future hypothetical ones. We can start spelling that up and getting you participating in those, or you can contact me directly.
Thanks, Matt. And thanks, Bob, for joining also. And you can find us on the web, so you know where to go.
Thank you, everyone.